Hey everyone, welcome to Building 61's weekly Maker Show and Tell. I'm Adam.
I'm Zach.
I'm Robbie.
And I'm Emily.
Cool. We've got a couple guests who are joining us here today, but before we dive into things, we've got some news about the calendar, and then we'll talk about some projects. So Zach, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, Adam, can I share that second screen? I think you're going to steer on that. So
Sure.
we had a very successful launch this week of our online virtual laser cutting guided access. The sign up for that, for those of you that have completed the laser training now, is at building61.org on the calendar link that you're used to seeing there. It will show you events such as regular Tuesday night show and tell and multiple virtual laser cutting guided access sessions on Mondays and Tuesdays. It's limited because we're testing this out. It's very beta, but it's been very successful so far. What you can see on your screen here is what it looks like to control Google Slides. Look at that. Isn't that nice? This is our pickup area. So just if any of you have been picking up books from the library, we now have our own little pickup area that includes this beautiful shelf, this beautiful sign. It says Building 61 Pickup. No one's trying to fool you here. If you can navigate to the south building on Arapahoe Street, we are you can pick up parts that you've ordered as a service from the virtual laser cutting guided practice. And you can also drop off materials. We kind of thought, hey, you know what? We're not going to get into the situation of like actually bringing in materials from anyone until someone asks. Literally, the very first person that signed up for the service asked, and so we provided a safe place for you to drop off materials. The laser cutting guided access happens between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Mondays and Tuesdays on the hour. So there's plenty of spots there on Mondays and Tuesdays. They haven't been full yet because we're just getting this started. If you are dropping off special materials, it is important to remember that health guidelines recommend that we let those materials sit for 72 hours to make sure that your heebie-jeebies and your cooties and your whatnots don't touch our bits and our parts. So you'll see that bin right next to the pickup shelf. The parts that you order will be individually wrapped. You'll be notified when they are ready for pickup. And our recommendation is the same as we give back to you, that you let those parts sit for 72 hours. If you're coming into the library for the first time since the COVID, the thing to remember is we are practicing social distancing. We have a very limited space inside the building open to the public. The best way to get materials and multiple types of media are still available is by placing a hold online. Just as it is with us, you're going to schedule this really lovely short meeting with us. We're going to talk about your files. We're going to make sure that we understand what you want and what you want it made out of. We're going to package those individually and tell you when you can pick them up. This is what the pickup area looks like. And here are some of our first contestants. This is, I'll just call him Cal. He far exceeded his time, but not a lot of people have signed up yet. So Cal, if you're listening, congratulations. You got extra time because you were on week 1. And once those are sort of packaged and ready for him to pick up, we just shoot an email, and that's what it looks like. You can walk in the Arapahoe entrance, and anybody on the front desk will point out the shelf to you, and it's as simple as that. We're really excited about this service. If it's successful and we're able to manage it time-wise, we're going to add other services, including 3D printing and hopefully even CNC milling and hopefully even a little bit of custom woodworking. So with that, I'll just say check out the calendar at building61.org and you'll see what's possible. Adam, back to you.
Cool. Well, it's timely. My browser just crashed, so I see that I'm still floating here in the ether, but I cannot manipulate anything on my screen. I think this would be a good time to just remind folks where to find that calendar and maybe what it looks like. Emily, do you think you could throw up a share on that calendar again, just to
Yeah, definitely.
give people a look? And I will try to just undo whatever chaos I'm seeing on my end.
No problem. I actually have that queued up. So
Cal says, thank you. Appreciate the extra time. You're very welcome, Cal. Thank you for a beautiful project, and we'll expect to see that on our show and tell in the coming weeks.
all right. So you probably recognize our landing page. If you go to building61.org, this is what you will see. I'm going to share a different one. Well, I'll just click through here. Let me get back to that tab.
Problem solved.
Nice. So if you scroll down, you'll see this Building 61 event calendar. If you click that, that's going to take you to a slightly different view than you're probably used to seeing. This is a consolidated calendar of our 2 calendars that we're using now. We were just kind of cluttering up the main library calendar, so they asked us to separate this out. Here, for example, is our show and tell, and if you scroll down, here is our virtual laser guided access. If you wanted to sign up for one of these, then you would just click on one of these and it'll take you back to the correct event so that you can sign it up. But that just makes it a little bit easier for you to see what's going on there.
I really love being able to see how many seats are available in those classes. I think that is just a huge update to the calendar. It's really tricky before, so I'm super excited about it.
Thank you.
Well done, Em. Yep.
Thanks. It was really fun. And there was all sorts of weird, silly things that I had to untangle to get that running. So it was kind of a fun puzzle to get all that put together.
So Emily, tell all the boys and girls about your background. What makes it possible for you to work such magic on the interwebs?
Yes. So I am also a full stack web developer and have worked with the Node Foundation. Love the JavaScript. There's a lot of other beautiful languages out there, but that's my main jam. And is that surprising?
It's a beautiful language.
It's a beautiful. I mean,
the best.
there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't like about it, and those are also valid feelings that sometimes I share and sometimes I also just live with. But you know, there's funny things about all languages. So yeah, I'm a web developer, and I really love putting together simple but really useful things. In fact, I just got some rabbits over the weekend, and I was like, oh, I should make an app to like track all of their like their weight, like how they grow, and like when they were born, and I don't know.
What type of dinner leads to romance with rabbits? I feel like that's a data point that the world's been missing for a long time. And they're clearly romantic.
That's one of the stories that you hear about, but I don't really know about that quite yet.
It's nice of you to give them their space.
Yes. In fact, I was going to talk about some stuff about them maybe a little bit later, but I can turn it back over to Adam.
I mean, I'm happy to talk about the project that I've been working on, or we can tangent right into bunnies, whatever you're feeling here.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So last week I mentioned a little bit about that crazy metal round marker that I worked on. So in my free time, I do a lot of game stuff, and as we are living in the COVID times, board games are incredibly difficult to enjoy with friends if you are social distancing. So there's been a big scramble as of late for board game developers and other tabletop developers to find digital platforms to get their projects built out on. And one of those platforms that's available right now is called Tabletopia. So one of the games that I developed, actually both of the games I developed, it was a bit of a scramble, but I actually spent the time over a couple of months in the evenings, late at night, working on getting all of the assets that you'd find in a tabletop game into a digital version. Now, I've got a little bit of a background in doing game development, though it's been a really long time since I've done it, like anything for the PC. I used to do a little bit in the Source engine and the Unreal engine before they became really, really cool like they are today. But Tabletopia has got an engine that lets you import assets and get things going. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen and kind of talk about some of what went into this stuff. Oh, but of course I did crash my browser and lost all of that. So I will try to bring that up again.
That's excellent, Adam. So which game are we about to see? Because I know that you developed more than one.
Yeah. So I've got a collection of things that I have worked on. We're about to look at Nexus Infernum, and this is a game where you are a necromancer and you are using your skeletal minions to harvest energy from portals. So once again, along the lines of the dark themes.
Yeah, typical Tuesday.
Yeah,
is it Wednesday?
It's fitting with the times. Everything I do is topical, so that's important.
It is. It's like in the 80s when you did that investing with Republicans game. That was an excellent game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fanfare over that one.
Let me share out something. So I started working in Blender again pretty recently. I don't know. Blender has done a really amazing job recently of kind of upping their game in terms of usability and friendliness to 3D designers. I'm pretty traditionally used Maya or 3D Studio Max. Those are paid programs by Autodesk. And they're awesome. They're super, super cool. Like, they are rad programs. And Blender has always had like a little bit of an alien interface. Like, I'm sure folks will understand when you start using one 3D CAD interface and you move over to another, you start going crazy when you're like, how do I move a vertex? Like, I just want to draw a line. And then you spend like 2 hours just trying to do that one simple thing. Blender's really cool. They recently got, I think, a big grant from Microsoft to add to their development of this free software. So what I've got up on the screen here are actually some assets that went into the game. So some of you who have seen the Maker Made show might recognize these fellas. This little skeletal crew. I think I've got one of those, the handmade ones that was screen printed and cut
Look
on
at
the
that.
laser.
Now, Adam, on average, how long would you say it took to screen print one of those skeletal minions?
Probably about like 2 minutes a piece, but we also did like 10,000 of them. So
that's like 6 million minutes. That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to think in terms of time, just to like not go crazy regarding that. But I don't know. This was a really fun process. Just getting back to sort of like the generation of creating assets. So everything in here, I actually had an Illustrator file that I imported the vector, the same cut lines that I used for creating the 2-dimensional objects. I imported into Blender, and with that, you can essentially just extrude a face to make it 3-dimensional. And then this is something that you don't typically see when you're doing 3D printing or something like that, but you have to do something called UV editing. And this is essentially a process of taking your 3D model and essentially skinning it. So like if you could think of like if you had like a box and you unfolded it and you were looking at all of the sides, you'd set that up so that you could then paint it. So like in a program like Photoshop. So what you're seeing on the left screen here is essentially the texture for one of these skeletons. And if I zoom in on this, you can see here's all of the individual geometry. So please, nobody make fun of me. I just tried to do this as quickly as possible. I know this geometry is really, really bad, except for the base where it's decent. This is just like triangle nightmarescape. But if I select this, you can actually see over on the left, these are all the individual UVs that have been laid out so that I could go into Photoshop to lay out that texture.
And that's called skinning?
This is UV layout, but people would call it skinning it. Yeah. So like I'm sure like you've seen like a video game texture, like as like a meme or something of like somebody's face it's just like a weird face texture. If you're ever looking at behind the scenes thing, it's because all of the individual polygons have had to been like essentially wrapped out so they can be painted.
I've got it. So before you skin them, they're just like regular people, and then once you skin them, they're skeletal.
Yeah, this is the that's the process. It's the metaphor here. I'm gonna try like for one more moment here to get the actual game up and running. But let's.
Come on, internet! Everyone, send your internet juju to
I
Adam
know.
right now. He needs
Internet.
a dog walker and he needs
Internet.
bandwidth.
Internet.
I know. You probably heard Jack like freaking out in the background. That's my dog.
He's just excited, I think, about the skin that came off of all of those people.
Here, it's loading. It's preparing to launch.
That's
this-
so cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. So all these like 3D assets, they get pulled into essentially the game environment provided by Tabletopia, and other game engines work very similarly. You create 3D assets, bring them into a space, and they simulate a kind of physics. And a platform like this, essentially, you can just you're at a tabletop, and the components work very similarly to how they would on a tabletop.
Come on, baby, you can do it. We want to see it.
This last weekend was Gen Con, which is the United States' biggest tabletop game convention, which occurred online. So there's a ton of people on these platforms right now playing these games. So you can actually see this is the actual board game, fully realized as a digital version, which you can then manipulate and move things around.
That's amazing.
It's
beautiful.
really cool.
Yeah, so this is what I spent a ton of time on, just trying to make this stuff work, so people can actually play this online, and you can actually play this for free. So this is all free to play. Like all the board games that I've uploaded so far, like you can just go to Tabletopia and check out, which is pretty cool. You can play with your friends who are across the world that you can't necessarily meet with in person.
So
yeah,
Adam, if I'm
can move around.
If I'm an aspiring game designer, and Tabletopia is a free platform, are there concerns for me about monetizing or being able to, sustain my game design company with a little bit of revenue?
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing about this is that you can actually monetize the games if you want. So you can essentially set your games to be premium play. So the amount of hours that people play it, you'll get an amount of money back. Because like I have my board games actually just available out in the world. I would just want people to try these things out. I want people to play them and just like get in on doing and do it. It's a wonderful way to just like showcase this stuff.
And for you, I mean, there's so much detail in the actual physical design that this is lovely and it looks amazing. And I love the fact that it's situated in a crypt and like the lighting is it's even darker than your living room. But it's not the same as like having all of the physical assets, especially the hand printed skeletal minion army. You've got 3 different sort of configurations of dies. So many cards, like there's just so much detail.
Yeah, so you have fun rolling effects to get these things moving around. So yeah, everything's there. It plays just like the actual game.
Super cool, and gorgeous.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working on this. I've got this in Eschaton, my other game, on there. So kudos to the other designers that helped play test all this. And we had like 50 people at Gen Con play it over the course of the weekend. So it's been a blast seeing this in action.
Yeah, shout out to the Archon Games team. This is a triumph. It's really cool. Congrats. I know you've been working really hard on this.
Yeah, it alleviated one worry of the COVID times.
That's true. Virtual gaming.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Can we throw that link up in a banner for folks to follow up and play a free round of Nexus, which I've played the physical version of, and I got to say, I ran out and I bought 5 copies just for myself in case I lost the first 4, and I suggest that other people do the same.
That's no need to. You can go play it for free online. Thank you.
We care, folks. This is not about Adam's income.
It is really fun.
It's great. I think we had a close round too, right, Robbie? Like I feel like it came down to just the last couple of rolls, and there was still a lot of open possibilities, and I think the winner was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I feel like almost everybody was in the lead at one point. So it was very exciting.
It's pretty
Some
exciting.
good fun that he had, some last minute backstabbing, everything you'd hope for in a board game. I like
There
that thing.
was some surprising backstabbing. I was like, wow, okay. I didn't know that you had that in you.
I mean, it's a post-apocalypse. You've already curried favor with the Dark One in Eschaton, and now you're just like, now you're doing side deals.
This is what I love about board games, that you just learn a lot about your friends. There's so much to be gained from it socially.
I did, and on that note, I had a good round of board gaming with our friend Stefan. You guys all know him, and he just turned 40. And happy
birthday!
Happy belated birthday to Stefan.
Happy birthday!
And, who loves code names, and then we played a round of I think it's called What Do You Meme, and but they were all the adult versions, and they are highly recommended, but they are definitely NC-17.
Board games.
Gorgeous. Bored. In the COVID times, lots of us are bored. All right.
Cool. I've probably far exceeded my time talking about this, so if somebody wants to...
What else do we got?
Talk about their cool stuff.
Is there a Lo in the waiting room? She thinks she's in the waiting room. Should we introduce Lo with all of the fanfare that she deserves?
Well, I'm adding her to the stream right now, so... Welcome, Lo.
Where's the Lo?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, Lo.
Hi, guys.
So, Lo, I gotta talk you up. You're one of our favorite people. I gotta let people know who just showed up live. And pronounce me, correct me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. It's Gian Lorena Cianfloni, who goes by Lo because that is a mouthful. And she was an intern with Building 61 and did some awesome work. She really pushed our organization system and our communication through all of the objects that we create to the next level. We almost hired her, but it was a very, very, very good competition. But nevertheless, Lo has become a full-time sort of like, I'm going to call you upper management, senior management level creative technologist at InventHQ. And I think she's not only going to tell us about it, but she's going to show us that. So, Lo, we love you. Welcome to the show.
Yes, I'm actually here. And I just think it's so interesting how different spaces have taken such different approaches. So in our space, we put most of our programming online, and we do a lot of like actual classes. And then we're working on opening by appointment. So I'll give, the space looks a little sad right now because there's nothing in it. There's like no more stuff anywhere.
There's no friends.
Yes.
What are the things?
Our laser is very sad. He hasn't been working in weeks. But besides just cleaning stuff, trying to find places to store things. Yeah, anything else about the space? Hopefully we'll have enough for 8 people to be in here, including the 2 staff members. So
8 people under social distancing rules, Lo?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So they have to, they think they can bring 1 guest, but the guest has to be from their same household. So it ends up being really slim, but we've just had a ton of requests from like people and a few local businesses that use the laser a lot, where they just really want it open. So
how are you guys handling that?
Well, our rough deadline is September 20th to be open again. And so far I think we're okay, just because the city of Broomfield applied for a variance really early on to reopen the library. And because even though we're not the same building, they're like letting us kind of squeeze in underneath that variance, which is like very technical city stuff that I had nothing to do with. So yeah, I think the
Do
only
better.
plan right now, the only plan right now is just to like stockpile on isopropyl alcohol and spray everything as often as I can. And the other thing I wanted to show off was our programming. So I don't know that I shared it correctly. I may have already sent it the wrong way, but I sent over we teach code clubs, which are like kids coding programs, and they've been super successful. We've been doing those all summer. So kids get like a packet with a project they have to complete, and for the most part, they do something totally different, which is fine. And then we have a Google Hangout, and they get to show off their work, kind of like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're like 10 to 15, and usually they take the prompt and they make something else up, which is great. And then the other half of our classes are kit-based. So Tracy, I guess, is not here, but Tracy is also a regular at the space, and my coworker here. And she just ran a sewing class last week, and they made these like laser cut leather bags, which were super cute. So
Nice.
We've been distributing these through the library, and in the summer and spring we've sent out about like 1,000 of them on a variety of topics. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have pieces of them because they're all at the library now. So I have like the plushie kit, which is like a little book how to make a plushie, and it comes usually with a bunch of stuffing and fabric. And of course, my cross-stitch animals. I have made like 10 different animals now in cross-stitch form, laser cut somewhere.
Nice.
So yeah, we send those over to the children's library, and they disperse them as activities. And that's about it. We're in this like holding pattern right now until we fully get reopened. I think that's everything about our space. That was like the speedy version.
Lo,
Can you
I'd
show
love
us
to
some
see,
stations and stuff?
Yeah, like can you show us some more of the equipment around the space? Because as good of colleagues as we like to think we are, I will confess I've never actually been in the space, and I'd love to see it.
I know. Okay, this is awkward because I don't know how to turn my camera because I'm like in the browser on my phone.
We want you in there.
So
yeah,
here
it's like a
3D
selfie with everything.
printers. We're still
Also, I have to
shields.
point out, Lo, I'm going to interrupt you one time. I have to point out, this is exactly how you interviewed for the internship that you got at Building 61, except I think you had just gotten out of the pool and were sitting on some balcony somewhere.
Yes,
and you were still impressive enough to get that gig.
Thank you. Yeah, just no breaths. Here's our tool wall that has no tools on it. They're not available. And we're going with the method of the mini makerspace. So we'll have 4 sewing serger areas that'll have digital embroidery machines and a serger and an iron. And then the other half of the tables are going to be for each one's going to have a Cricut or a silhouette cutter on it, and some supplies for that. And then, or they can have a laptop and do stuff for the laser. So we also thought about having people submit files, and we may also go to something like that. But for the most part, we figured people are going to need help with their files. So we'll see how it goes. I have a lot of faith that people will do great and bring very good files, but you never know.
It's been mixed so far. We've gotten questions from folks that are a little less adept, but we've also gotten files from folks that they just 100% know it, and we can even throw that ambiguous. You get 20 minutes of operation time, and that really means learning from experience, and there's no substitute for that. And at the same time, we're getting people who are saying, I ran a file at one point. Is it still there? Because I'm not really sure how to recreate that file. And unfortunately, what we can do right now is that's excluded at this point. But the other thing we're trying to do, Lo, is just build those orientations that you're familiar with into an online class, so that we can bring new people on board in a strange enough way, depending on how long this lasts. We'll probably, it has the potential to reach a larger audience than we've ever reached before. But I'm curious about kits. We've done a very limited amount of kits. We sent some out with CU Science Discovery earlier in the summer. Tell us about your experience with kits, and what are the pro con it for us, and tell us what's working, what's not. I like the idea that kids get this this sort of recipe, and then they cook something you didn't expect. But not all students learn the same way, as you know, and some of them are rule followers, and they gauge their success by completing the task that's set out before them. Others just like to make stuff up as they go. So what are you seeing in terms of teaching performance and student performance with the kits that you've sent out?
Totally. So, I mean, it's been a kind of wide range. We did a big event over at the beginning of the summer and sent out like 500 or 600 just through that. And we just asked people to send us photos if they made something. And that was, I mean, obviously there's no teacher engagement there, but it did feel like this community engagement. Like, people got to see each other's stuff. It was a time when we were, I feel like, all really isolating. And yeah, I think the challenging part of that is you just can't see what they're doing. There's no, like, you know, method to the madness. With the coding classes, for the most part, the kids are really great, like beyond at all what I expected. The real con of it all, though, is that they want to talk to each other. Half the time, these are kids that already code a lot, and they have limited social interaction. And so trying to create time for them just to, like, I don't know, chat about not coding is really helpful. What else? Keeping the kids cheap has also been a challenge. And you know, we were talking to DPL, the Denver Public Library System, about their kit plan a few months ago, and they had estimated it was going to be like $40,000 to do like $3 kits, 40 a week for all of their like 26 spaces, or like libraries included. And we, like, I mean, that's a huge amount of money. That's like our whole operating budget. So yeah, trying to find clever ways. I've pretty much used up all of the consumable supplies I had in the space. And the maker kits were great for that, because I could make them for like out of literal trash and be like, make like,
here's a banana peel, kids.
Yes, make something with it.
Laser debris to opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I would include a piece of wire and then be like, make something go on the wire. Like, that's a whole challenge on its own. But the only real piece that was bought was the wire. The rest of it was our recycling. So. And
who's your target audience? Have you been able to reach, or how are you networking to reach out to that audience? Who are your collaborative and partner organizations?
So a big push here is the school system. Broomfield doesn't have its own school district. We kind of get to play with 3 different school districts that are all very different. So I have like teacher counterparts that we've been working with, and then we work with like the food bank system as well to kind of get kits out. So our focus is super kid teacher oriented, because that's kind of been the biggest interest. I think once the appointment system is up, that'll be back to more like the people who were coming into the space beforehand anyways. And this is almost like a new audience that we weren't even really reaching beforehand.
That's amazing. And I think that we've all been looking at silver linings and sort of the ironic increase in opportunities. Janet was in a panel last week, and I think she articulated it really well. She said, you know, a lot of people are looking at how to salvage the way things were. And from another very valid perspective, this is a new material to create with. And in doing so, kind of address some of the imbalance and inequities that existed in the system before. So sounds like you have some partners that are helping you do that.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like they were partners that didn't necessarily want our help before, and now they're like, we will take any help we can get. Like, we're even working on some like video tutorial content that will go out to the schools as like it could be curriculum.
That's what I was going to ask. So the diminishing point of returns with kits comes when, if you're doing a live sort of workshop, different kids learn at different rates. Different kids have different problems that might range from their understanding of a project to we screwed up something. We left something out of the kit, and they're like, I don't have that LED. And so video content seems to be like the least expensive way to easily repeat that series of instructions, and it allows the students to actually sort of tackle that problem on their own time and in their own way, more so than doing it live, which feels weird. And also, like you pointed out, where they might want to really focus on the social interaction, because this it's great to see you, by the way. This is the closest thing to seeing you that we've had for 5 months.
I know. So. Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like you know, libraries have historically, you know, really like kind of doubled down on their position of being content curators, and they're finding themselves in the role of content creators, really kind of like for the first time ever, with a medium that is very unfamiliar to library world. So there's a lot to be learned there, and I definitely see it as opportunity. I feel like there's you know, being able to do these kinds of streams and kinds of panels and things like that, like, you know, online is awesome. I feel like it's something that libraries should have been doing for years. So the fact that we're finally doing it, I'm just like, yes, all right, now this is the new way.
Lo, anything else you want to plug, get in there, tell us about how you're doing? How have your vacation travels gone in the past 5 months? And what website should we send people to?
Yes. I have really enjoyed walking around my house. Sometimes I wear my Fitbit and it tells me like once an hour to walk 200 steps. That's great. And I just do a loop. That's like honestly my most exciting vacation story, which is pretty sad.
That's sad.
Things to plug though. We're gonna open up a whole season of programs. You don't need to be a Broomfield resident to register for any of them. So we're gonna open up a whole set of Inkscape classes, another round of code clubs. Half are in Scratch, so those are for like younger kids, and half are Python, which is 12 plus. But most kids are like 14 to 16, I would say, in that group. And yeah, I mean, keep an eye out on our website for when those appointments open up, which should be like late September. Which is
and what is your website, and can we get that up on a banner?
Yep, I don't. Sure. I'm create a channel to join the chat. I am gonna do that while you guys talk about the next thing you were gonna talk about.
Lo, thank you so much. As this goes on and our audience hopefully widens, we'll call you back to see what you're doing in the near future, and good luck, and we love you, and best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So good to see
Great
you.
to see you, Lo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's never awkward having a live conversation with Lo. So smooth. So pro. She's the best.
She is the best.
Is there anybody else here tonight, Adam?
Yes, we have Heather Sherman is joining us today to tell us about her projects. So I'm going to add you to the stream now, so you'll be able to. Here we go. Hello, hello, and welcome.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody. Good to see you.
Hi,
Yeah,
Heather.
likewise.
Hello.
Hello.
Give me a little back and forth there. All right. How's everybody doing in the makerspace? I've been thinking about you guys.
We've been making it work. We're excited to be actually have access to the space again and just be able to, I don't know, start programs up, get people access to machines. It's been a bit of a slow going thing, but now it's revving up.
Oh, well, I can't wait to come and see you guys in person someday, for serious, and play with some of those cool toys that you got down there. I'm always like, wow, look at that toy they've got. And look at that toy they've got.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I want to get involved with that toy. And yeah, anyway.
Well, we
The
also
coolest
are holding,
playground.
We're also
Sparkly
holding
things
one
to
of
go.
your we're holding one of your creations safely hostage right now, Heather. So we have to see you eventually, and we're looking forward to that.
Yes. I'm actually really glad that you have her because it's like storage space at a premium right now.
You're welcome.
So it's
Did you hear that, taxpayers of Boulder? You are storing Art2Eat Cakes cakes.
Beautiful artwork.
Right. My sugar sculpture. The polychrome Dollar of the Rainbow. Yeah, that was going to be a cool show. I wanted to come down and see that show where we put it on display and everything. But
It was an interesting show. Great opening, but of course, closed prematurely.
right, I'm not sure how to get you guys pictures on this stream. Otherwise, I'd be popping your photos, as we speak. But
Yeah, you can just share your share screen. There should be a little button down towards the bottom of your screen.
Let's see if we can catch you guys. Goodness. Okay, share screen. See if we can get you guys some photos real quick.
I can't wait. We've been watching your Instagram,
Okay,
and it seems like you've made you're either advertising a lot of stuff that you've done in the past, or you've been very busy.
I have been trying to here. Let me try and find you guys some cake photos here. I've been doing this since 2000, and I don't really 2000 and on multi-brain tasking here. All right, so you could see I have been doing this. Can you see all of that? This is my
Yeah, we can see it.
folder. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down and just talk. Okay.
Oh, these look cool.
And if you can make them
Open some up.
any way to make them full screen, Heather, that'd be great. I want to see this anglerfish. Looks like he's eating a guy.
Yeah, let me
I
do this, guys.
do love anglerfish.
Art2Eat Cakes.com is my site. Can you guys see that? My cake gallery.
We can see everything on your screen. If you can, if there's any way for you to open those up full screen, it'd be. I think everybody else could see them a lot better.
Awesome. Did I lose you? No, my poor computer. It's trying to keep up with y'all.
There's a lot happening right now.
Yeah, it's trying. Okay. Here is
I can pull it up on my
portfolio.
computer too.
Do you see that one right there? Cake portfolio, share screen.
Cake,
Chrome
cake,
tab.
cake,
Art2.
cake,
Here it comes. Here it comes. I think I got it.
All right, here we
Technology.
go.
Woo! Okay.
Nice.
So you can see that this is just my gallery page. This goes from what I've been doing this year. You see Yoda here. There's the anglerfish. Here, let's look at that really quick. You guys want to just see that closer?
I wanted to see that. I'm terrified of sea creatures.
Oh, they
That's
were scary.
awesome.
We had so much fun with this cake. I took it to my daughter's biology class, and the kids demolished it. I mean, like they literally tore it to pieces.
Oh wait, did they eat it?
Yes.
Did they use utensils? It looks like they just went straight in with their mouths.
They wanted to. I'm like, no, you must use napkins. They're like, no, you can't make me. So you can see on all of my blog posts, whenever I make a cake like this, I go all out. I want to show you what I did, how I did it, because sometimes people are interested in that sort of stuff. But here's the polychrome cake that you're holding. in the bowels of the storage.
There she is.
That's her.
So
Developed
cool.
a new technique. All of this is solid sugar paste. There is an armature, but all these swirls and stuff. Yeah, there's me.
There's you.
Solid. That's me. You could see I've done, this is one of my favorites.
Monty Python.
Yeah, show us some of your favorites.
All right. Sir Robin the Chicken Hearted, of course, This one I
love
really
it.
wanted to I actually still
That's
have
great.
this one. If you guys want to show this one, I can bring it to you. I still have it. You can't get rid of it.
That's so
Mostly
cool.
wobbly,
That's amazing.
Cool.
So
yeah, go ahead.
For people that are watching this, what they're looking at is more what someone might think of when they think of like a Fimo type sculpture or just sculpture in general. But these are actual cakes, yes?
Right. Yeah, let's show you here. Here's the taco dragon. This is an actual cake. You can see there's a photo. Okay, this is not corn shell. This is gum paste that I have textured and dusted to look like a corn shell. So
and everything's edible.
That's all edible. The little dragon here, he's made out of chocolate. He's completely solid. In this particular cake, this particular artwork, everything was edible, entirely edible. So it
cool.
ranges, like here I'll show you PJ Masks here. Oh, sorry, CNN just came on. Go away, my TV. But you can see PJ Masks here. His whole head is made out of cake. So you see his little body, that's concealing what looks like a pillar, right? With a big old platform on top, like a fancy cake shelf, right? Right, and then everything is built on top of that. I really go above and beyond to make sure that everything is food safe. Let me just scroll down to one of my favorites here.
So Heather, another question while you're searching there. How much? I mean, we're all familiar with. I think all makers are familiar with projects that take hundreds and hundreds of hours. And if you're somebody that develops a specialty and finds a niche in the maker world, the amount of time is a little bit less each time. But on average, how big are these cakes? And two, how much time does it actually take you to make one from start to finish? How many hours do you have in this?
All right. So if you saw at the top of the page, I did that Cookie Monster cake about a couple months ago. That took me 3 days. And I've gotten, like you pointed out, a lot faster. But it's still 3 days. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to pay $45 for a cake. But, like you pointed out, I'm not going to be able to do it in less than 15 hours.
Okay, so 3 days, 3 days of 5 hours, or 3 days of 8 hours, or like Adam, like 3 days of 22 hours.
I wish it was banker hours. Wouldn't that be awesome? No. It's more like I spent 3 hours this day on this cake, working on like the gum paste and the board, and as you see, the stand, and then maybe the next day I'll spend 8 hours baking the cake, filling it, making sure it's refrigerated. And the next day after that, I'll spend maybe 6 to 7 hours carving, covering with fun and detailing, airbrushing. So, it's not like I spend 8 hours and then I'm done. No. Some days are, less than others, but it all adds up to anywhere from 15 hours to, let me show you my biggest one, which was my Sagrada Familia cake. Now this cake, oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. Look at this. Okay, so
you're not supposed to ever finish that one, by the way. The construction should go on for 100 years.
I like to think that Gaudi would have appreciated what I did, and you can see what I'm looking at here. It had 200 edible stained glass windows that all lit up from inside. We cut into it while it was still lit. I threw all of those molds by hand. I sculpted all of the originals and made the actual molds. So you're looking at a 600-person wedding cake that took me upwards of 3 months.
That's amazing. And as a maker, I recognize some terminology here. You're talking about mold making and essentially casting. What besides baking, what are some of the technical skills that you picked up to get to this level? And if someone was interested in doing this, what kind of processes would they want to study?
Sure. Well, it's funny because my background is actually in engineering. I started out as a wire artist and a found items artist. My father was a mechanic. So, I was always stealing his car parts and stuff like that. And I went to school of mines. I realized there that, math is good, but nature and science is really cool. So then I went into graphic design. So I use all of those skills. I do a Corel layout of all of my cakes to scale before I even started. I mean, even like this Sagrada cake here, I did an actual architectural layout. I've done electronics, which obviously, that folds into it. I've done a lot of fabrication by hand. That's why I'm always so fascinated with what you guys do. I'm like, oh my God, it took me 4 hours to cut that by hand. What if they had a CNC? I've worked at an engraver shop down in Denver at the beginning, the dawn of digital art, right? So it's been really interesting, and really all the skills that I've learned have gone into what you see now. The baking is really a very recent addition. I've always been a baker, but making cakes like this on a structural basis is a totally different animal, and it's not a very people. It's real hard to find a clientele that both appreciate and can afford what you're working towards.
That's a really interesting question for my coworkers. I'd ask you guys. Heather, I really appreciate that you said all of the things that I have learned go into what I do now, and we think of ourselves as specializing in various areas. But would everyone in present company agree from your practice now draws from multiple disciplines? So Robbie as a painter and as an engineer and a woodworker, and Emily as really a computer scientist and a person who specializes in a type of logic, but also that logic that folds into your fabric design and fabric work and so on and so forth. I feel like Heather brought up a really beautiful point there, that making is sort of this alchemy of a lifetime of blended skills and experiences. You guys agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's all you got to say. So Heather,
one of the things I was admiring in this piece and others is the fabric work on some of the characters, essentially replicating like the folds and getting that sculpturally done. Can you talk about how you got that?
Yeah, sure. First off, thank you so much. And it's so funny that you say fabric work, and then I pull up, which is really one of my favorite pieces. Can you guys see that? So
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, that lace.
The lace is edible, 100% edible. Lover of love. So I have a. Let me see if I can find it for you. Yeah. Oh, look, there's my shop. Haha. So here's one of my custom tools that I make. This is the perfect ruffle maker. Now, for some reason, here's my demo video. Yes, I make all sorts of videos. I'm starting to learn how to do this sort of stuff. I don't know how to turn that sound down.
No, that's great.
I don't think we can hear it from where we're at. But that's okay.
Come on, kids. But basically, I've got this widget, right? And I get it nice and rolled out, and then I put it onto this fan that I have that I've created, drew out, custom folded. I used to be big into origami, another one of those skills. And you can see I groove it into here. I'm just cleaning it up real quick. Come on, kids. I want you to see it. Come on.
Come on, internet.
Come on, internet. But then, oh, there it is. Okay, so you can see I very carefully groove it into each one. And then you turn it upside down. It's very much similar to like we were talking about mold making. It's very much mold making on a piece of slick like sticker material paper, so it falls right off. Here in a second, you'll see it. I'll flop it right over for you.
Oh wow!
And you can see it's just I really love showing people techniques. They're like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? And I'm like, oh well, let me show you how I did it. And then here, this is a large part of sugar work, and I'm guessing probably Fimo as well, is the padding of it, right? So now we're going to take this piece of flat, paste, and we're going to give it depth and flow and movement just by stuffing, wadding underneath it and then allowing it to dry. Because once it's dried, it's hard, just like your Fimo clay.
Right.
It is, and it's terrifying to handle. We've installed and uninstalled 2 pieces now for the MakerMade show, and it's brittle. And you've been very gracious and very kind and encouraged us not to worry too much about it. But it is literally the last thing we install, and it's the last thing we uninstall, because we want to get our art moving muscles like quite well attuned.
It sort of feels like a bank heist when we're doing it, because we have the the glass thing that goes over it. There's 3 of us that are very carefully positioning everything in place, because we just want to protect it, because it's just so cool.
Oh, I love you guys. You're just wonderful, which is why I let you, show my stuff. And that I really love it when I do the fly on the wall and I sit there. I bet you guys do that too, right?
Oh, that was first year's cake. I think that's the one that you brought.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That's the one. And it's just to watch people look at your art. Do you guys do that? You stand there and watch people like look at your artwork and they go, "Oh, look at so and so," and you're like, "Yeah, I like that." I mean,
it's a really good feeling.
I get a thrill off of that. So, what can I say?
It is, and you should be rewarded. Your work is amazing and bespoke and just unique and totally over the top. It's really, really fantastic. So I have. Go ahead, Robbie.
Not the least bit surprising to me, the background that you described. Like, I feel like I could almost reverse engineer. Like, clearly she has done some engineering. Clearly she has worked with this. Like, it's amazing how all of those things come together in what you do in such a magical way.
It's so good to talk to other makers. I mean, that's actually where I get my biggest thrill, is collaboration with other makers like you guys. And, and you're like, "Oh, I want to design this fabric." And I go, "Oh yeah, we can totally, that's actually the greatest thing in the world, is collaboration." And also, before we get all done here, I wanted to just speak really quickly to cake. All right. People are always like, "Heather, why do you do all this work for a cake?" And how I could never cut into that. Oh my God. And I'm like, you gotta, right? I mean, I tell people, you hire me for the cake that you never want to forget, because it's not a cake. People walk in and they see this thing and they lose their minds. And everybody goes back to being this little kid. Oh my God, we're gonna cut some cake, and it's no longer just an anniversary. It's no longer just a birthday. It's no longer just a wedding. Now it's this amazing thing that you never forget. And then you also get to destroy the art.
Sacrifice.
Something very Ouroboros about that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's just, I wanted to speak to that really quick, because the sugar artwork and the sculpture, a lot of people are like, "Why don't you just go into Fimo?" Probably will at some point, but that's why I stay in cake. And I have one treat for you guys. I have a sneak peek for you. I have a piece that I have not released yet. Top secret.
Ooh.
Whoa.
An exclusive. This is exciting.
You can see me? Okay. Here we go. And it's getting dark in here. All right. So You know Bill and Ted are coming out with a third movie, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
I heard it in the phone booth.
Awesome.
And who's around the back?
It's George Carlin. Oh, it's Abe.
Abraham.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
We'll release
That's
this
brilliant.
at the end of the month. You know, I mean,
So cool.
That's so good.
I hear Keanu lives here somewhere in town. I would love to. Oh my God! Yeah, don't.
Really?
I
I mean, all I can say to that is, whoa.
Whoa. Dude.
Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked that you're stoked about that. We've dated ourselves, but I'm preeminently pleased that that's a remake. Heather, you're taking the time to hang out with us and then showing us an exclusive, like over the top. We want to make sure that anybody that sees this gets to your site. So what's the website?
I'm at Art2EatCakes.com. That's it. That's me right there.
Awesome.
If you go to my site, be sure to take a cup of coffee or a beer or something, because you're going to be there a while. If you're not, I did something wrong.
It's amazing. Amazing work.
I don't just do cakes. I do, ebooks, videos, swag. I try to have something for everybody to buy. How else you gonna cover your net, right, artists?
Right, artists.
Exactly. This was really awesome. I appreciate the invitation. I love what Building 61 is doing. I mean, seriously, it's really awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing all that with us.
Yeah, we're thrilled that you were here, and this has really set the bar high for all of our future shows. So, thanks for signing up. It's awesome. We were like, oh my gosh, Art2Eat Cakes is on. So it's pretty awesome.
Glad to see you guys. Thank you so much for all the love.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. Take care.
Well, I'm hungry.
Cake.
I know. I've got my coffee ready to go. So
good. I mean, I think like a really cool thing to reflect on that hopefully is a conversation that invites other people to come hang out is, you guys, I look at you all the time and I'm amazed at the variety of skills that you've collected and how they all come to bear on literally everything that you work on, from game design to painting to, custom clothing like overnight, Emily, to chicken momming and rabbit momming and raising an amazing kid. All of those things. That seems like a theme that we could pick up on in a future show, I think. And also, I want to see more of what you guys do that I don't get to see that closely all the time because we're always in the trenches together.
The chickens are literally on their roof right now. They've been going nuts this entire show, showing off the terrible things that they can do.
So what's coming up? Next, you guys want to do this again next week? I feel like it was really awesome to hear from Lo and hear from Heather.
Absolutely. We'll be doing this every week, I hope.
Let's do it. Any final words from anyone? Words of wisdom going forth in the dark COVID times?
I just want to say thank you for everyone who showed up to watch the show. Just remember that you can sign up for this on the calendar. You can bring any kind of work you want in any kind of medium that you want. We would love to hear about your project and your methods or show off your space. It's all welcome. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, team. Thanks, Em. Thanks, Robbie. Good night, Adam. Good night, Emily.
See you next time.
Good night, Robbie.
Take care.
Good night, Zach.
Good night, Emily.
Good night, chickens.
Good night, chicken.